What's up everyone, welcome back to the shop. I use these Bessey bar clamps for just about everything, even my latest project here, which is gonna be pretty cool, but future video. I like the versatility of these. I like that they're so easy to use. I like that they're reliable. I just like them. But I was walking through Lowe's a long time ago and came across this beauty here, the Pony Jorgensen. I was very excited to see this because 2016, Pony shut down. It's very sad to see that. Now they're back, and these things, just something about it. I had to get them. I think it's probably a little bit of that orange because, you know, I like my orange. I wanted to get them. I wanted to try them out. And I wanted to hold off on saying anything about the quality of them because I'm not a fan of buying a product, taking it out of the box, mess around with it, and then saying, hey, this is what I think about it. Nope, I want to put it through its paces. Now I can tell you, after I've used this in every way imaginable, what I think about these compared to the classic Bessey ones. I'm gonna focus on the 6-inch version of this, but everything I say applies to the other links as well, but I'll talk about that in a second. Now with the Bessey here, you've got a 6-inch capacity, though I did measure mine and it is 16 1/16 whenever I screw it all the way down. I'll take that extra 1/16 of an inch any day. As far as the throat depth, you're looking at 3.5 inches about towards the middle. Like the handle a whole lot. As far as the clamping force goes, you're looking at about 1,100 pounds. That's almost 500 kilograms for my brothers and sisters across the pond. Way more than you'll probably ever need. These clamps have never let me down in all the years I've used them. In comparison, the Joregensen clamp is also the 6-inch model. But when I unscrewed this and I measured it, it came out to 6 inches and 3/8. That's quite a bit more. And again, I'll take it. The throat depth though, 3 inches. It's a 1/2 inch difference. That's a big deal. It also has the non-marring pads, a really good handle, a thicker, more robust handle than the Bessey ones. I really like the handle. I really like the handle a lot. It just feels right. As far as the clamping force, you're looking at about 1,000 pounds of force, so 53 kilos. Again, a ton of force. Also, both these have a limited lifetime warranty, so I ain't worried about that either. If the Bessey clamp has been so great, so reliable for so long, why would I even look at another clamp? Well, I think it's the look and feel of this one. When I saw this on the shelf and I had to pick it up, I was like, wow, it is noticeably a beefier clamp. It weighs more than the counterpart. The jaws here, while they're not as deep, they're wider. The pad that we have on the upper pad, you're looking at 1 3/8 wide. Well, that is wider than the Bessey. The bottom round pad here, it is significantly bigger than the Bessey. Also, when I put them together, what I noticed is this is just an overall longer clamp. When you go from the end of the bar to the end of the bar, you're looking at about 3/4 of an inch longer than this one. They're both cast iron, they're both steel, and even though that this is smaller, because it doesn't have the capacity, it weighs more. That just tells you how much beefier this is. And when you look at it, you can definitely tell that looks like it could clamp the crap out of something. When it comes to clamps, I prefer to have as many of the same type as possible. Now, we can have different sizes and everything, but if they're all Bessey, I'm familiar with them, then during those stressful glue ups, I don't have to worry about fumbling my way through it. So I had to look at the different sizes that are available for these types of clamps. And well, they're almost exactly the same. They all have 6-inch increments, so you have the 6-inch clamp, the 12-inch clamp, all the way up to 36 inches. Okay, so the clamps are all about the same size. And then as far as the aesthetics and looks and feel go, we know that the Joregensen is a bit beefier, feels a little bit more substantial, but let's look at the reviews that other people have said. And well, they're basically exactly the same. Of course, because these are competing brands, they're gonna use competing stores. The Joregensens are sold by Lowe's, the Besseys are sold by Home Depot. Both of them have basically a 4.7 to 4.8 star rating with about 800 reviews. So people have spoken, they're good clamps either way. If you go to the Q&A section of any website that sells tools, you're gonna see there's at least one question about where was the tool made from. So I wanted to make sure I looked into that. As far as the Joregensen goes, Joregensen is owned by Great Star Industrial, which is a Chinese company. These are the heavy duty clamps, the ones that I like to use. These are made in the United States. They are USA made in a plant in Chicago. After a brief search, I wasn't able to find a facility in Chicago that is making these, and on Pony's website, there's an interview with a vice president for the company, 2018, who flat out says they are not manufactured in Chicago. All their manufacturing is in China. Plus, on the back of my clamp, it says made in China on this little sticker right here. So if you're gonna go buy this and you see on Amazon listing or something that says made in USA, for the Bessey. Bessey is a German company, been around a super long time. Now, I always thought that the Bessey clamps were made in Germany, and there is a whole bunch of them, especially the more industrial ones that are made in Germany. However, all of these that I could find are made in China. Now let's talk about price, because that's what's really, really important to a lot of us, and clamps are expensive. So when I saw that Pony had came out with these, I was hoping for maybe some sort of better deal when it comes to pricing. Looked into it, and as of right now, all the prices between all of these are completely identical in every way. You're looking at about a 1 cent difference between either one of these, and then when you increase them in size all the way up to 36 inches in length, again, about a penny difference. So I don't think that the price difference is going to be a real motivator for people on which brand they want to go with. I also don't know which one offers the most frequent sales, and that could be a big factor. Those are all the tangibles. We looked at the price, we looked at the aesthetics, we looked at the measurements of them. That's the stuff that we understand. Let's talk about though the performance, the intangibles. Now that is a little bit subjective because we all do things differently in our shop. We make different things. I really like the contact points on the Joregensen much better than the Bessey. Having that size, which is about a 1/4 inch wider, just a fatter pad, especially the bottom one here. Whenever I clamp something down, it feels like it is clamped. I feel like I get a really good grip to it. I like that a lot. I also really like that it's wider because it helps with balancing. Sometimes you're trying to juggle things around, you're trying to get something lined up perfectly before you turn the handle to get it clamped up. And these things balance really well because it has that big square flat surface area compared to the Bessey that is narrow and longer. I also sometimes will set my clamps down and put something in there. Like if I'm doing a clamp up for a box, I can set my clamps down, kind of get them in place, set the box where I need to, and then tighten them up. Now, whenever I set both of them on my workbench, then the Bessey one wants to quickly tip over. The Pony one, you gotta really push it. It is much more stable, and that is a big thing to me. So, if I had to turn around and buy a whole bunch of clamps in my shop and had to pick one of these two, I'm going with Bessey. That pains me because this is so close to being a perfect clamp. There's something about this Joregensen clamp that makes me want to use it more often. I have all these clamps on my clamp wall, and when I go to reach for that clamp and my hand's going towards the Bessey, for some reason that siren song just starts calling to me, and my hand diverts over to the Joregensen and I grab that one instead because there's just something so elegant, so beautiful about this that I want to use it. Here's the problem though. I cannot have a clamp in my shop that is not a reliable clamp. And that's the problem that I found with these. I've used several of these in all kinds of configurations for all kinds of projects in all kinds of orientation. And one thing that is as predictable as the sun is it will not stay clamped. It comes loose. I'll clamp this thing down. I will crank it as hard as I can. That is not going anywhere. Test my workpiece. It is solid. The slightest vibrations, all of a sudden, starts to loosen it and loosen it and loosen it. And next thing you know, it's not even holding my workpiece anymore. I can't trust a clamp that doesn't stay clamped. When I use it, I try to use it for things that I'm not going to use for a long time, or I have to remind myself to constantly check it. I use it, check the grip, make sure it didn't come loose. I've never had to do that with these, and it's disappointing because it is a beautiful clamp. And I am rooting for Joregensen to be so awesome, and they're so close. This isn't there yet. Hopefully they will be able to do some sort of improvement to the screw to make it where it stays where it's supposed to be at. Now, there might be other people who have them that do work fine and don't have that issue. Maybe they're working on different types of projects, maybe in different settings, But what that would tell me is that maybe there's also an issue with quality control. And I got several that do loosen up, and they got several that don't. And that's a problem too, because now you're dealing with which ones am I getting? This is the reason why I don't do a whole lot of tool reviews, and whenever I do, I use that product and I use it as much as possible. Because if I would have just bought this off the shelf and did a review like you probably have seen out there a dozen times, you wouldn't know that. And then you turn around and you buy a bunch of these, and then you find out afterwards that, well, maybe they're not exactly what you thought that they would be. So hopefully this review helps. Now, please get in your shop and build something awesome.